Hey coin lovers! Welcome to the Worth Old Coins channel, your place to discover the hidden value and rare facts about old coins. In today's video we're revealing the top 5 valuable coins, and one of them might just be in your collection, so don't skip this video. Let's find out their real worth. Top 1. The 1997 P. Roosevelt dime represents the enduring legacy of the 10-cent coin, first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the nation's 32nd president and a central figure of the 20th century. Why 1997? The Roosevelt dime had already circulated for more than 50 years, remaining virtually unchanged in design and continuing to serve as a cornerstone of everyday American commerce. The P mint mark signifies that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the United States Mint's oldest and most prolific facilities. Historical context: the dime's creation in 1946 was a tribute to Roosevelt's leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, and particularly to his support of the March of Dimes, the public health campaign that helped eradicate polio. By 1997, the design, by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint, still featured Roosevelt's dignified left-facing profile, a symbol of stability through decades of political and economic change. The year 1997 itself fell in a period of American economic expansion, marked by strong growth, technological advances, and the rising popularity of electronic transactions, yet coins like the dime remained essential for small purchases and vending machines. Design details: obverse. Front. The obverse presents a finely detailed bust of Franklin D. Roosevelt facing left. Above his head is the word Liberty, while to the left, in smaller letters, appears the motto, "In God We Trust." The date 1997 sits to the lower right of the portrait, and just above the date is the P mint mark for Philadelphia. The designer's initials, J.S., for John Sinek, appear at the base of Roosevelt's neck, a subtle hallmark of the artist. Reverse. Back. The reverse depicts a central torch, flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right. The torch symbolizes liberty and enlightenment, the olive branch stands for peace, and the oak represents strength and independence. Around the edge are the inscriptions United States of America and one dime, while the Latin motto E pluribus unum, out of many, one, stretches across the field between the branches. Specifications: the 1997 P dime follows the standard clad composition adopted in 1965 after silver was removed from circulating dimes. It is made of a copper nickel sandwich, outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The coin weighs 2.27 grams, has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.35 millimeters. Its reeded edge with 118 tiny grooves not only gives a pleasing tactile feel but also discourages clipping or counterfeiting, a practice rooted in earlier centuries when precious metal coins were shaved for their silver content. Mintage and production: the Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 1.2 billion 1997 P dimes, ensuring that the coin is abundant in circulation today. High-speed presses at the modern Philadelphia facility struck these coins on automatic feed lines, followed by rigorous inspection and counting before distribution to Federal Reserve banks. Because of the huge mintage, most 1997 P dimes remain common and inexpensive in circulated grades, though pristine examples appeal to collectors seeking perfectly struck specimens, collectability, and varieties. While no dramatic errors define the 1997 P dime, specialists still watch for minting anomalies such as full torch, FT, or full bands, FB, designations on the reverse, where the horizontal bands of the torch are sharply defined. Coins exhibiting full, crisp lines without flattening are prized by collectors and can command higher prices in mint state grades, especially MS 67 or above. Proof dimes from 1997 were struck separately at the San Francisco Mint and bear an S mint mark, making the Philadelphia issues a distinct circulation type. Economic and cultural role: even as electronic payments grew in the late 1990s, the dime remained vital for payphones, vending machines, laundromats, parking meters, and small change transactions. Its compact size and high utility embodied the practical side of U.S. coinage policy. Carrying a 1997 P dime in your pocket is like carrying a small piece of American history, linking the New Deal era of Roosevelt to the booming digital economy of the late 20th century. Summary: the 1997 P Roosevelt dime is a copper-nickel-clad coin struck at the Philadelphia Mint in vast numbers. Its enduring John R. Sinek design, Roosevelt's left-facing portrait, and the torch olive oak motif continues a tradition that began in 1946. With a standard weight of 2.27 g, diameter of 17.91 millimeters, and reeded edge, it remains a symbol of American resilience, honoring a president who guided the nation through depression and war. For collectors, the coin is common yet meaningful, a snapshot of late 20th century U.S. minting and a tribute to both the man and the ideals it commemorates. Top 2, the United States 10-cent piece of the year 2003, bearing the small D mint mark to signify production at the Denver Mint, continues the long and venerable tradition of the Roosevelt dime series first introduced in 1946. Although at a glance it may appear like an ordinary pocket coin, the 2003 D dime embodies a deep history of American monetary policy, modern minting technology, and the enduring legacy of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The design itself has remained essentially unchanged for decades. On the obverse, a left-facing portrait of President Roosevelt rendered by sculptor John R. Sinek displays the word liberty along the rim, the national motto "In God We Trust" just beneath the chin, and the date 2003 to the right of the profile, accompanied by a tiny D below the year to identify the Denver facility. Sinek's stylized initials JS are subtly placed at the truncation of the neck, a quiet reminder of the original artist's hand. Turning the coin over, the reverse carries the classic arrangement of three central elements: an olive branch on the left for peace, a torch in the center for liberty, and an oak branch on the right for strength and victory, encircled by the inscriptions United States of America, the Latin motto E pluribus unum, out of many, one, and the denomination one dime. Though this motif has been struck billions of times over the decades, the crisp relief and fine detail achievable by the Mint's modern presses in 2003 ensure that even circulation strikes often show sharp lines in the hair, torch, and leaves when unworn. From a technical perspective, the 2003 D dime belongs to the clad era of U.S. coinage introduced after the Coinage Act of 1965, when rising silver prices forced the government to abandon the 90% silver composition of earlier dimes. Instead, it is struck from a copper-nickel sandwich, outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The coin has a standard diameter of 17.91 millimeters, a thickness of 1.35 millimeters, and an official weight of 2.268 grams, all with a finely reeded edge of 118 reeds to deter clipping and provide a tactile security feature. Denver's high-speed Schuler presses in 2003 produced an immense output. Official mint records list a mintage of roughly 695 million pieces, making it one of the most common dates of the modern series. Despite that abundance, collectors often value examples with full strike definition or high mint state grades certified by services such as PCGS or NGC and top populations of MS 68 or better. A flawless 2003 D dime can still attract modest collector premiums, whereas typical circulated coins remain worth only their face value of 10 cents. Historically, this coin is part of a continuum that links mid-20th century ideals to 21st century everyday commerce. The choice of Franklin D. Roosevelt for the dime in 1946 honored his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II and his personal connection to the March of Dimes campaign to combat polio. BY 2003. The Roosevelt dime had already outlasted several other U.S. coin designs without a major redesign, underscoring the durability of Sinek's portrait and the nation's continuing respect for the president it commemorates. Coins from the Denver Mint carry their own heritage. Founded in 1906 to service the vast mining regions of the American West, the facility has become one of the world's largest coin producers. Each 2003 D dime, though small, represents advanced metallurgical engineering, high-volume automated striking, and stringent quality control processes that ensure billions of coins circulate seamlessly through the U.S. economy. For numismatists, subtle varieties and die states can provide added interest. While no major recognized errors dominate this date, specialists occasionally hunt for off-center strikes, broad strikes, or coins with misaligned dies or unusual planchet flaws, which can command premiums depending on severity and eye appeal. Proof versions of the 2003 dime were struck separately at the San Francisco Mint in both copper-nickel and 90% silver compositions for collectors. But the Denver minted circulation strikes like the one under discussion remain the workhorses of daily transactions, from vending machines and payphones of the early 2000s to today's coin jars. Thus, the American one dime 2003 D is far more than a simple 10-cent token. It is a physical snapshot of U.S. monetary history, an enduring tribute to a pivotal president, and an artifact of early 21st century minting excellence. Whether found shining in uncirculated rolls or showing the gentle wear of 2 decades in pockets and cash registers, each piece tells a story of technological adaptation and national continuity, connecting the everyday commerce of 2003 with the broader sweep of American numismatic tradition. Top 3, United States 10-cent piece dated 1987 D belongs to the enduring Roosevelt dime series that has circulated continuously since 1946, and it reflects the economic realities and minting technology of its era while carrying forward the symbolic tribute to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. On the obverse, sculptor John R. Cynoc's classic left-facing profile of Roosevelt dominates the field, with the bold word Liberty along the left rim and the motto "In God We Trust" positioned beneath. The president's chin. The date 1987 sits to the right of the portrait, and just below that date a small D mint mark identifies the Denver Mint as the place of striking. Cynoc's subtle initials JS remain at the truncation of the neck, preserving the artistic credit from the coin's original 1946 introduction. The reverse features the timeless trio of symbols: an olive branch on the left signifying peace, a central torch representing liberty, and an oak branch on the right for strength and victory. Around this central motif are the inscriptions United States of America, the Latin national motto E pluribus unum, out of many one, and the denomination 1 dime, all of which have remained virtually unchanged for more than 7 decades. Technically, the 1987 D dime is a product of the post-1965 clad composition mandated when rising silver prices forced the mint to abandon 90% silver coinage. Each piece is a copper-nickel clad planchet consisting of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The coin measures 17.91 millimeters in diameter, 1.35 millimeters thick, and weighs an official 2.268 grams. With a finely reeded edge of 118 reeds that Dieter's clipping and gives the dime its familiar tactile feel. Denver's high-speed presses in 1987 produced an immense output. Official mint statistics record a mintage of roughly 754 million circulation strikes, making it a very common date within the Roosevelt series. Because of that enormous production, most examples trade only at their face value of 10 cents unless they remain in superb mint state condition. Certified coins graded MS-67 or MS-68 by services such as PCGS or NGC can attract collector interest and modest premiums, while coins showing typical wear are valued purely for everyday commerce. From a historical standpoint, the 1987 D dime sits at an interesting crossroads of U.S. monetary and economic history. The late 1980s were a period of relative economic expansion following the inflationary shocks of the previous decade. Advances in minting technology allowed the Denver facility, one of the largest coin producers in the world, to maintain tight tolerances and sharp detail even on billions of pieces destined for circulation. Each 1987 D dime thus reflects both the modernization of the U.S. Mint and the stability of a design that had already weathered more than 40 years without significant alteration. The Roosevelt portrait continued to serve as a national homage to the president who guided America through the Great Depression and World War II and who championed the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio, making the 10-cent coin a natural canvas for his memory. For numismatists, the 1987 D offers subtle areas of study despite its commonness. Collectors occasionally seek coins with full torch and hair detail, often described as full bands, FB, designations where the horizontal lines of the torch are fully separated. Error specialists also look for striking anomalies such as off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, or double dies, all of which can command premiums depending on severity and visual appeal. While no major nationally recognized varieties dominate the date, such minting quirks provide added intrigue. Proof versions of the 1987 dime were struck separately at the San Francisco Mint, bearing an S mint mark for collectors, but those proofs differ from the standard Denver circulation strikes like the coin described here. In summary, the American 1 dime 1987 D is far more than a small 10-cent piece of pocket change. It embodies the legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the technical mastery of late 20th century U.S. minting, and the everyday economic story of the United States in the late 1980s, whether found bright and uncirculated in a carefully saved roll or showing the gentle wear of decades in cash registers. Each 1987 D dime remains a tiny but tangible link between the nation's modern commerce and the enduring ideals of liberty, unity, and strength that its design so elegantly represents. Top 4. The 1981 D Roosevelt dime stands as a small yet meaningful artifact of U.S. monetary history, carrying forward the design first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt and continuing the practical copper-nickel composition adopted in the mid-1960s. On the obverse, you see the dignified left-facing portrait of Roosevelt created by sculptor John R. Cynoc, a design that has remained essentially unchanged for decades. The word liberty curves boldly along the left rim, while the motto "In God We Trust" rests just beneath the chin. To the right of the portrait appears the date 1981, and immediately below that year sits the small D mint mark, denoting the Denver Mint, the facility responsible for striking this particular issue. Cynoc's subtle initials JS are located at the truncation of Roosevelt's neck, a quiet but enduring signature. The reverse continues the timeless theme of strength and peace, an olive branch symbolizing peace to the left, a torch in the center representing liberty and enlightenment, and an oak branch to the right for strength and victory. Encircling these devices are the inscriptions United States of America, the Latin national motto E pluribus unum, out of many, one, and the denomination 1 dime, a layout familiar to generations of Americans. From a technical perspective, the 1981 D dime belongs to the era of copper-nickel-clad coinage that replaced silver dimes after the Coinage Act of 1965. Each piece consists of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving the coin its distinctive pale silver color while maintaining durability and resistance to corrosion. Standard specifications include a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, a thickness of 1.35 millimeters, and an official weight of 2.268 grams, with a finely reeded edge of 118 reeds that helps deter counterfeiting and clipping. In 1981, the Denver facility operated some of the world's most advanced high-speed coining presses, turning out an enormous production run of approximately 563 million circulation strikes, a mintage that firmly classifies this issue as a common date in the Roosevelt dime series. Because of that abundance, circulated examples generally carry only their face value of 10 cents, though sharply struck, uncirculated coins in high grades, particularly those certified MS 67 or MS 68 by top grading services, can command modest premiums among dedicated collectors. Historically, the coin reflects both the stability of U.S. design tradition and the economic context of the early 1980s, a period marked by high inflation and the Federal Reserve's efforts to stabilize the dollar. Even as the broader economy experienced turbulence, the U.S. Mint maintained remarkable consistency and quality control, ensuring that billions of coins like the 1981 D dime could circulate smoothly across the nation. The enduring use of Roosevelt's portrait underscores the respect for the president who guided America through the Great Depression and World War II and who championed the March of Dimes campaign against polio, making the dime an especially fitting tribute. For numismatists, this date offers a few points of specialized interest. Collectors sometimes seek examples with full bands. F-bond the torch, meaning the horizontal lines across the torch's flame are fully separated and sharply defined, a sign of an exceptionally strong strike. Error enthusiasts may hunt for off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, or double dies, any of which can raise the coin's value depending on severity and visual appeal. Proof dimes were also produced separately at the San Francisco Mint in 1981, but those carry an S mint mark and are distinct from the Denver circulation issue described here. In summary, the American 1 dime 1981 D is far more than a routine piece of pocket change. It embodies the technological progress of late 20th century, minting the economic realities of its time, and a design heritage stretching back to the mid-1940s, whether discovered bright and uncirculated in a carefully preserved roll or showing the gentle wear of 4 decades in cash registers and coin jars. Each 1981 D Roosevelt dime remains a small but enduring link between the everyday commerce of the early 1980s and the broader sweep of United States history and numismatic tradition. Top 5. The 1993 D Roosevelt dime represents a continuation of nearly half a century of American numismatic tradition, carrying forward the design introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt while reflecting the technological precision of late 20th century minting. Its obverse features the familiar left-facing portrait of Roosevelt, sculpted by John R. Sinek, whose initials JS are discreetly engraved at the truncation of the neck. The bold inscription Liberty curves along the left rim. The national motto In God We Trust rests just below the chin, and the date 1993 is positioned to the right of the profile. Beneath the date lies the small D mint mark denoting the Denver Mint, where this issue was struck. The reverse carries the enduring symbols of American ideals, a torch in the center signifying liberty and enlightenment, flanked by an olive branch of peace on the left and an oak branch of strength and victory on the right. Encircling these images are the inscriptions United States of America, the Latin phrase E pluribus unum, out of many, one, and the denomination 1 dime, a layout that has remained virtually unchanged for decades. Technically, the 1993 D dime is part of the copper-nickel-clad coinage adopted after the Coinage Act of 1965 replaced silver as the primary metal in U.S. dimes. Each piece consists of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, creating the silvery appearance and long-lasting durability that modern commerce demands. The coin measures 17.91 millimeters in diameter, 1.35 millimeters in thickness, and weighs an official 2.268 grams. Its edge is reeded with 118 tiny grooves, a practical anti-counterfeiting feature that also gives the dime its familiar tactile feel. According to official U.S. Mint records, the Denver facility struck an impressive mintage of roughly 735 million circulation pieces in 1993, ensuring that the date is widely available and typically encountered in everyday change even decades later. Historically, this coin reflects the economic landscape of the early 1990s, a period of gradual recovery following the recession of 1990-1991 and the rapid globalization of financial markets. Despite these changing economic conditions, the U.S. Mint maintained rigorous standards of quality and efficiency. Denver's high-speed Schuler presses produced billions of coins annually with automated quality checks that kept tolerances tight and strike detail sharp. The enduring use of Roosevelt's portrait continued to honor the president who guided the nation through the Great Depression and World War II and who inspired the March of Dimes campaign against polio, making the 10-cent piece a fitting memorial. For collectors, the 1993 D-dime is considered a common date, and circulated examples generally trade only at face value. However, high-grade mint state specimens can command modest premiums, especially those certified MS-67 or MS-68 by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC. Specialists sometimes search for coins displaying full bands, FB, on the torch, meaning the horizontal lines across the torch are fully separated, an indication of a particularly sharp strike. While no major nationally recognized die varieties dominate this issue, error hunters occasionally encounter off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, or double dies, all of which can increase value depending on severity and eye appeal. Proof versions of the 1993 dime were produced separately at the San Francisco Mint with an S mint mark, but these collector pieces are distinct from the standard Denver circulation strikes. In sum, the American one dime 1993 D is more than just a small coin of everyday commerce. It encapsulates the long-lived Roosevelt design, the technological sophistication of late 20th century minting, and the steady continuity of the U.S. monetary system. Whether encountered bright and uncirculated in a collector's roll or bearing the gentle wear of decades in pockets and cash registers, each 1993 D-dime remains a tangible link between the economic life of the early 1990s and the enduring ideals of liberty, unity, and national strength that its imagery so eloquently conveys. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.